he was cool at one point in time. You know what I mean? Like me and Charlo was cool. Like his brothers, all that. You know what I mean? Like I always was cool with this guy, him, his twin, and his older brother. But like for some odd reason, once I moved up in weight and you know what I mean, started calling out Spence and you know what I mean, that's his stablemate. He did it. Like, dude, you know what I mean? Mind your business. Stay on the sideline. You can be like, man, Spence my guy, you know what I mean? But I'm cool with Bud, you know what I mean? I'm gonna let them handle that as men. You know what I mean? Don't be Spence gonna knock you out. Oh, you know, man, we smoking Bud over here, like doing all that grill stuff, man. We don't do that shit. Like just like Broner. You know what I mean? Broner, you know what I mean? He kept it G. I gotta respect him. Like, you know what I mean? I'm cool with you, but I'm more cooler with Spence, and you know what I mean? I believe Spence gonna beat you. Like he told me that to my face. Yeah. But he not going on, you know what I mean, social media. He not
fuck Terence Crawford.
Man, Terence Crawford, man, Errol won't knock him out and do all that other extra stuff, and then you know what I mean?
So he gotta see you.
Yes.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, undefeated, 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the reigning WBO World Boxing Organization welterweight world champion, was widely considered by many to be the number one best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and Terence Bud Crawford, who has a record of 39 wins, no losses, no draw, 30 big wins by way of knockout. He is 35 years of age, 5'8", with a 74-inch arm reach. Terence Crawford explains that 4-division world champion superstar boxer Adrien the Problem Broner had approached him, and they face-to-face, and Adrien Broner told Terence Crawford face-to-face that Errol Spence is going to beat him, right? And Terence Crawford, he said that he could do nothing but respect that. He said that Adrien Broner was a man and told me to my face that Errol Spence was going to beat me. And Terence Crawford, he stated that 3-time junior middleweight world champion, undisputed junior middleweight world champion, superstar boxer Jamel Iron Man Charlo, who is 35 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 19 wins by way of knockout. He is 32 years of age, 5'11" and a half, with a 73-inch arm reach. He stated that Jamel Charlo was a friend of his and rooted for him. Okay, he supported him. He stated, and then when the conversation arose for him to face off against Errol Spence, who represents the biggest fight, 50% of the biggest fight with Terence Crawford, and Errol Spence is the undefeated unified 3-belt WBA, WBC, IBF welterweight world champion, superstar boxer who is widely considered to be top 2, if not number 1, definitely top 5 pound for pound best fighters in the world. Errol Spence has a record of 28 wins, no loss, no draw, 22 wins by way of knockout. He is 33 years of age, 5'9", with a 72-inch arm reach. They will face off July 29th, Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena. But with that said, Terence Crawford explains that, you know, Jamel Charlo was a fan and a supporter of Terence Crawford. But once Terence Crawford and Errol Spence was in conversation to possibly face off against one another, he stated that Jamel Charlo then switched up on him. And he stated that when he saw him out, you know, everything was all love. But now that the conversation arose between his stablemate, Terence Crawford has explained that, you know, Jamel Charlo, he trains with longtime, well-renowned, 2-time Trainer of the Year, future Hall of Famer Derrick James, who obviously Derrick James trains Errol Spence Jr. So they're stablemates, they're friends. They both come out of Texas, and he stated, you know, once that, you know, became a conversation that it was a possibility that they could fight each other, then it became something completely different. And he stated that, you know, Jamel Charlo started to switch up his energy. He started to say how, you know, Terence Crawford wasn't worthy and that Terence Crawford was going to get knocked out. And he said that, you know, it was just on a female tip. It was female energy. Okay. So he stated that, you know, he respects any fighter or anybody that feels like Errol Spence is going to beat him. But just let him know, be straightforward with it. He said that once upon a time, Jermell Charlo was a supporter. So he stated that he have no problem and he understands that Jermell Charlo is going to roll with his stablemate and his close friend in Errol Spence Jr. He says that it's just not necessary for him to go around bashing his name and saying that he's going to get knocked out and he's not worthy. He said that if you feel like Errol Spence going to win and that's who you rock with, then, let that be known and that's cool. He said, just like, Adrien Broner did. Adrien Broner told Terence Crawford to his face, I rock with you. You my boy, but I'm closer and I'm cooler with Errol Spence, and I believe that Errol Spence is going to win the fight. So Terence Crawford said, I can't do nothing but respect that. And that's facts, right? But everybody does things their own way. Everybody is different. Adrien Broner, has always been a straight shooter his entire career, his entire life, right? And that sometimes gets Adrien Broner in problems, right? Because he's always straightforward, sometimes too straightforward for many people's likings. Nonetheless, this is a mega fight on the horizon. It's for undisputed. This is the first time we're going to have a 4 major sanction belt undisputed world champion in the history of the sport of boxing. The last undisputed champion we had was Zab Super Judah. Zab Judah was a 3-belt era undisputed welterweight world champion. And since then, we haven't had a 4-belt undisputed champion in the welterweight division. And so history is on the line. This is a legacy fight. These are 2 guys that are top 5 pound for pound best fighters in the world. These are 2 guys that are in the prime of their career. Neither guy has shown that they have shown vulnerabilities. Neither guy has shown that, that they are not, what they once was. They're not showing wear and tear. They both committed to the sport of boxing. And so we have a major mega fight on our hands. OK, this is a mega fight between these 2. And, it's truly a 50-50 fight. It's not often that we get fights of this caliber, at this level in the sport of boxing that are truly 50-50 fights. We'll get 2 guys that are popular, 2 guys that we may have wanted to see, but one guy have lost or took in a draw or just don't look the same or have some grueling fights and just don't seem to have the same reflexes, the same abilities they once was, just don't seem to be somewhat of a shell or on the downside of their career. That's not what we're seeing here. We're seeing both guys at the pinnacle, at the top of their game, both committed to the sport, both undefeated. Neither guy showing vulnerabilities. Now, Errol Spence did suffer a horrific car accident, did suffer a major eye injury, and both guys have not been the most active fighters in as of late, okay? But nonetheless, again, like I stated, you wouldn't pick any other welterweight to beat Errol Spence, and you wouldn't pick any other welterweight to beat Terence Crawford but themselves, okay? Point blank and period. The 2 welterweights you would pick to beat them is each other. So we getting a pinnacle. This is the absolute best of the best. This is what we call for. This is what we're clamoring for. This is what we're interested in. And now it's upon us. But he stated, Terence Crawford, that, Jermell Charlo is going to have to see him, right? Because he don't like the fact that Jermell Charlo, he switched up on him. OK, he said everything was good. Everything was love. Everything was cool until he came into the welterweight division and was conversations of him fighting his friend in Errol Spence. So he said that, that's his biggest cheerleader, his biggest fan. That's what he called Jermell Charlo, Errol Spence's biggest cheerleader and biggest fan. So after he beats Errol Spence, he's going to go up to 154 and he's going to make himself the mandatory challenger for Jermell Charlo. And he's looking to become a 3-division undisputed world champion, right? If he beats Errol Spence, first of all, there's a rematch clause that Errol Spence has 30 days to activate the rematch clause. And on top of that, Terence Crawford is getting a little bit long in the tooth. So, he have to make these fights ASAP. But if he beats Errol Spence and he becomes undisputed in 2 separate weight classes, he can make himself the mandatory WBO challenger for Jermell Charlo at 154. He fights and beats Jermell Charlo. He would be 3-division undisputed world champion in two of the most glamorous division in boxing, the welterweight and junior middleweight division, and in the junior welterweight division. That would speak absolute volumes. And like Terence Crawford said, that would be some enormous shoes to be filled for the people coming up behind him. And I agree with him. But let's see how this unfolds and plays out. First things first, he got a huge hurdle in front of him, which is Errol Spence Jr. Got to get past Errol Spence Jr. before he gets to Jamel Charlo. So the storyline would be enormous. Imagine he beats Errol Spence. Derek James trains Jamel Charlo. Storyline would be huge. But that's all I got for y'all. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. Peace.